Parliament returns Mining Act 2012 to committees on mining and justice for scrutiny. Authorities in Malakal struggle with relief crisis amid the arrival of 300,000 returnees and refugees. And Juba City Council unveils new weekly Keep Juba Clean drive. Good afternoon and welcome to SSBC News, coming to you live from Juba. My name is Jacqueline Pierino. Our news for this afternoon begins with the government continuing to commend the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, for its sustained humanitarian support amid nationwide flood displacement, the ongoing war in Sudan, and persistent intercommunal tensions in parts of the country. This comes following a meeting between the Vice President for Gender and Youth Cluster, Rebecca Nyandeng Dimabior, and the UNHCR representative, Maria Helene Veni, whose term of duty has come to an end. During the meeting, Vice President Nyandeng highlighted the need for continued collaboration and inclusive strategies focusing on women and youth empowerment.
My last week in South Sudan as representative for the UN Refugee Agency. I will be leaving this week after almost 3 years in the country. It has been an extraordinary 3 years for South Sudan, certainly from the point of view of UNHCR. We remember the start of the crisis in Sudan and the impact it has had on South Sudan. A country that, despite all its challenges, has kept its doors open for refugees. More than 1.2 million people have arrived from Sudan since April 2023, some of them refugees, some of them South Sudanese. And it has been quite an experience to see the way that the people of South Sudan have opened their doors and welcomed their brothers and
Now exploring parliamentary activities, the parliament sitting chaired by the Deputy Speaker for Administration and Finance, Permena Awerial, has listened to the presentation of the Mining Act 2012 Amended Bill 2025 by the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Dr. Joseph Gengakej. In his presentation, Dr. Akej explained that the bill seeks to amend the Mining Act 2012 to align it with the revitalized peace agreement and the transitional constitution. After deliberation on this matter, Parliament returned the bill to the committees on mining and legislation and justice for further scrutiny.
The purpose of this bill is to amend the Mining Act 2012 to conform to the revitalized agreement, the constitution, and best practices by providing for the development of nations' mineral resources and establishing the South Sudan geological.
The government says it has relatively restored national peace and security, as evidenced by the growing farming activities across the grassroots settings. This comes in a meeting between the Presidential Advisor on National Security Affairs, Tut Galwak, and the Speaker of Eastern Equatorial State Parliament, Charles Odwar. Galwak assured the Speaker of the government's commitment fostering peace, unity, and social cohesion.
We came from Eastern Equatoria as a government and people's delegation to come and congratulate our advisor, Honorable Tut Galwak Manemi, for the trust given to him by His Excellency the President of the Republic of South Sudan, General Salva Kiir Mayardit. Tut is well known to all the people of South Sudan. He's a man of people, and we believe his reappointment will strengthen security and peace in our country. He is one of those who will be an addition to the presidency in terms of running the affairs.
The government has reaffirmed its commitment to the nation's youth empowerment through enhanced sport activities and skilling programs to overcome redundancy and elevate their economic status. Abraham Felix reports.
In a significant move to bolster national youth empowerment, The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mande Simaya Kumba, held a meeting with the Minister of Youth and Sport, Mary Nawai, in Juba on Tuesday. The meeting focused on strategies for youth development with a strong emphasis on capacity building and vocational training initiatives aimed at equipping the young generation with marketable skills. Both officials reaffirmed their unwavering commitment to a stronger partnership, vowing to continue working together to support youth activities across the country. In a separate development, Minister Mande Simaya convened a meeting with the Egyptian ambassador Hazim Momdo Fozi in Juba on Tuesday. The meeting focused on identifying and deepening collaboration across various fields of mutual interest, signaling a continued commitment to strengthening the diplomatic relationship between the two countries. Ambassador Fozi emphasized the importance of strengthening the historical ties and continuous cooperation.
We discussed the way to strengthen the bilateral relations and the exchange of practical ideas and future projects, and also the schedule of future bilateral and multilateral meetings or fora.
According to him, the meeting is part of ongoing efforts to bolster diplomatic and economic partnership between Juba and Cairo. Abraham Felix, SSBC, Juba.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Akolatak, and the outgoing head of the International Committee of the Red Cross, Florence Gillette, discussed ways of addressing humanitarian challenges. In a media statement, Minister Attack complimented the ICRC for their constant relief support.
The meeting centered on the ICRC contribution to general humanitarian situation in South Sudan, responding to, and mainly on the affected people by the conflict and those who are coming from Sudan. And also we reflected on some technical assistance that the ICRC did to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, especially in developing what we call missing person bill, which is very, very important. That will protect the right of missing person. In our part, we really appreciated the role of the outgoing ICRC head of mission for her being actually proactive, being cooperative, being actually supportive to what we are doing.
It was an honor today to meet with Honorable Minister Albino Akolatak, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, to also say goodbye to him as I'm ending my 2.5 years mission in South Sudan. We took this opportunity to reflect on the evolution of the humanitarian situation in South Sudan in the last 2.5 years and on the challenges ahead. Looking also at the many people who are being displaced by hostilities in South Sudan this year. It was also an occasion for us to look at the achievements jointly achieved on the legal aspects for the families of the missing, with families of the missing bill.
The minister was very clear that the resilience part is so key. Emergency is not enough. We need to also ensure that we are building resilience, and he was happy to hear that that is also a priority of NPA. So we will keep updating each other. He will give his guidance, and we will also update on what we are able to do. And we will together also try to keep donors' interest for South Sudan. We believe that investing in South Sudan will bring a prosperous future, and it's important.
A delegation from the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, led by Undersecretary Acher Manuel John, is in Bantu of Unity State to assess the impact of flood on local population, as well as devising ways to provide clean drinking water to the grassroots communities.
Unity State is one of the states which has been affected by the flood, and has, under Secretary in the Ministry of Water Resources, under the leadership of James Mawich, with a full instruction from our President General Salva Kiir Mayardit. Our role is to make sure that there is clean water in all corners of South Sudan. With the support of our development partners, we are going to come and implement clean water project with IOM.
Petroleum Undersecretary Engineer Deng Lualwal has returned to the petroleum docket, replacing his rotation counterpart Dr. Chol Deng Thorn, who takes up the water technical advisor role. As Engineer Wall takes back the baton, he pledges continued efforts to boost oil production and improve staff welfare for greater work efficiency. SSBC's Akuch Maker reports.
I would like to sincerely thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of South Sudan for the trust and confidence he has placed in me through this reappointment as Undersecretary of Ministry of Petroleum.
Back at the petroleum docket after his removal, Petroleum Undersecretary Engineer Deng Lualwal returns with well-structured plans at his fingertips, including increasing oil production and attracting investors to South Sudan's energy sector to strengthen the national economy and ease the suffering of citizens.
I will commit myself to work closely as a team to advance the sector. As you are all aware, the oil sector in South Sudan is going through very difficult time, and the economy of the country is also going through a difficult time. Production increment to be able to recover the economy of the country, mobilize the potential direct investors to the country, and take care of the welfare of the Ministry of Petroleum and all the joint operating companies' staff.
The outgoing Undersecretary Dr. Chol Deng Thorn thanks President Kiir for the opportunity to serve and urge Engineer Wall to prioritize staff welfare to create a conducive working environment.
Let me take this opportunity to give thanks back to His Excellency General Salva Kiir Mayardit for the trust bestowed upon Engineer Deng Lualwal, and prior to that to myself, Dr. Chol Deng.
Chol have served in the petroleum sector for over 11 years, gaining extensive skills and expertise that continue to shape the country's oil industry. Hakuch Maker, SSBC, Juba.
Gender authorities have engaged gender focal persons in discussions on matters related to gender statistics, gender monitoring, and the status of reporting systems aligned with the African Gender Index. Abate Simon Godot reports.
This program was supported by the United Nations Commission for Africa in aligning national gender information with the African Gender Index. The Undersecretary in the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, Esther Ikere Ilezai, asserts that the statistics produced indicates significant progress in standardizing gender concerns development. She says facing constraints in financing gender programs requires a collective intervention.
We know very well that one of the key things that we want to underscore in this meeting is that financing of gender equality has been very, very important. So within our gender-based commitments, we are looking towards financing of gender equality and women's empowerment. We are looking on reporting on Beijing declaration and platform for action.
The director of the National Transformational Leadership Institute at the University of Juba, Angelina Bajuva, underlines the importance of implementing women's human rights normative standards, mechanisms, and reporting systems to ease women-related development planning.
So that this can also inspire us in the process of us coming with our own document as a country. But also after the Beijing, there have been a number of progresses captured. We all know Beijing Platform for Action, which has about 12 indicators or critical areas that we've been monitoring over years. But also these are initiatives with measures for gender equality.
The representative from the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa says it is particularly important for governments to adopt the African Gender Development Index in monitoring and reporting obligations for fixing development needs.
In terms of gender equality and empowerment of women and girls, in 2004, EC introduced the African Gender and Development Index, the HDI, to support African countries to meet their monitoring and reporting commitments. Financial support from the African Development Bank, who has provided financial support to EC to assist South Sudan, Burundi, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe to strengthen the
monitoring reports provide evidence to inform advocacy. Governments are well advised to address fundamental international concerns such as ratifying rights treaties and implementing major agreements. Abati Simon Godo, SSBC, Juba.
Turning to the humanitarian situation in Upper Nile State, authorities in Malakal say they are struggling to cope as the number of returnees and refugees from Sudan continues to rise. Over 300,000 people have arrived in the past 6 months, worsening the relief crisis amid limited resources. SSBC's Adia Gildo reports.
More than 300,000 returnees and refugees fleeing conflict in Sudan have arrived in Upper Nile State, mainly through rank and manual entry points in the past 6 months. Upper Nile's Deputy Governor Deng Jo Anok says the state is overwhelmed and urgently needs support.
منذ الأحداث حسب التقارير تردنا من منظمات العملة اللاجئين استقبلنا بجاوز 300,000 لاجئ خلال أقل من 6 شهور وده نسبة كتير واللاجئين السودانيين اللي بيجوا بتيجوا بكمية من المخلفات أو سبل الحياة بتاعهم بتيجي ببهايمهم بتيجي بعرباتهم بتيجي تكلمنا عن منطقة شمالية رنگ متجاور 3 ولايات سودانية كبيرة و3 ولايات سودانية كبيرة حصل فيها مشاكل. السكان بتاع 3 ولايات نظروا للرنگ. الآن رنگ قاعد تواجه الظروف الإنسانية من جانب بتاعت
Angelina, one of the recent arrivals, await relocation from Blue Cat transit site to a will under an integration program run by the government and partners including IOM and UNHCR.
والحمد لله نحن وصلنا بألف سلامة. فالتعامل اللي وصلنا في بلدنا الحمد لله ما زي التعامل اللي نحن جينا منه في الخرطوم. نحن جينا في حالة احتقال وجينا في حالة إنه نحن جينا بكشة. ما شلنا أي حاجة من حاجاتنا. في ناس من ضمن من ناسنا خلوا عيالهم هناك في الخرطوم. فدينا نفس الناس اللي رجعوهم وجابوا أولادهم.
IOM's Deputy Director General Sung Hali is urging sustained attention and long-term solution to ensure safety and dignity for displaced persons.
The current funding situation is challenging. That's why we need to first really collaborate with many other entities, other UN agencies, but also governments and local community. Second, we want to make sure that our humanitarian work also leads to transition, recovery, and resilience, empowering the local community, empowering local stakeholders so they can continue to live with dignity and stability in their life.
South Sudan remains among the world's most displacement-affected countries, with over 9.3 million people in need of humanitarian aids and nearly 2 million internally displaced. Years of conflict, flooding, and the Sudan crisis have left many families with little means to recover. Adia Gildo, SSBC, Malakal.
As part of efforts to revive the beauty of the city, the Juba City Council authorities have launched the Keep Juba Clean campaign, cleaning key areas including the 7-day runabout, Airport Road, Munuki, and the State House Road. The Deputy Mayor for Administration and Finance, Jennifer Yabula Suba, officially opened the cleaning campaign. She appealed to Juba residents not to dispose rubbish carelessly along the roadsides and urged all road users to cooperate with the city cleaners. Meanwhile, the Deputy Mayor for Social Services, Lual Joseph Deng, called on residents to take responsibility for maintaining cleanliness, especially regarding the use of waste containers along the roads, urging shop owners to provide dustbins for proper waste disposal to ensure cleanliness in and around their business premises.
كل ما أسبوع 4 يوم. ده بداية ليلة وأنا قاصد المواطنين تنين قال كنا كوبريت مع ناس الجنة في الشارع ده. أنا أعرف في الشارع إني في هوتيلات في مكاتب وفي بيوت وفي ناس قلوا كلوا كواساك سامبلا ويبين في هوتيلات دي في الشارع إني ما جنة دفو. أنا دير كلم قاله في يوم تاع الليلة اللي قدام. ناس دي كمان جنة دفو دي ناس زي تاخون الإندو محلات تاخون قايدين فوق دي. كيتا كون cooperate. I urge you to cooperate with the people who are going to work along the road. I saw their embassies along this road. There are also hotels, there are offices, and there are different types of people along the road. I need you people to cooperate with the people who are going to work along the road.
كورلات مواطنين مدينة جوبا هو واحد ونفس الكورلات نقول 2 ليه؟ لأنه هم قاعدين يشتكوا من الجوبا وسخان 2 بيشتكوا من الشوارع بعد ذلك جاء أمني والحاجات دي لأنه الشارع لما يكون نظيف شارع فيه الوساخة بيشيلوه لما الشارع يكون فيه بيكون فيه أمني. هنا نلم يدنا كلنا ونركز في النظافة بعد ذلك نظافة لو انتهى عندنا حاجات تانية تدريجيا جاي مثلا زي التتوار اللي بيكون في النص شارع محل ده ما محل تاع وساخة ده عملوه عشان يخطوا فيه الزهور كويس فمن يوم الليلة اللي قدام أي وساخة تاني ما دايرين يخطوا لنا في النص شارع أي زول عندك وساخة تبدأ تخطوا جوا خوش بتاعك عندنا عربات بتاعنا بمر كان بالسفارة بشنو تطلع وساخة بتاعك لو لقيت عربية فات رجع وساخة بتاعك جوا انتظر اليوم الثاني.
أنا بنبه أنه شغال هلا أو شغال هلا كله تا سرقة تا جرد 3 سرقة جرد كوتا كانسل كلهم لازم يكون حريصين على أنه وساخة ما يجيبوا لنا في الترتوار يعني احنا كلنا كلنا نحافظ على النظافة كويس.